It is April 10th, 1912, and the RMS Titanic has left the port of Cherbourg behind it a couple of hours ago. Most passengers were settling in and getting used to the ship. It was quite an exhausting day, so I did basically the same. I got used to my stateroom and have dedicated myself to unpacking most of my luggage. I felt quite insecure and still wasn't sure whether or not I made the correct decision. I've spent most of that week just thinking about exactly that.
To my most precious Danny, I hope this letter reaches you well. I have heard of your departure, and am heartbroken I could not tell you the following in person. You are our only child, and we miss you terribly. Your mother is unwell. She has been requiring a nurse to see to her everyday needs. She does not know of your departure yet. I was afraid how she might take it. Danny, I hope you know I wish for your utmost well-being. If this is what you wish for, to be going so far from home, I will not even try to persuade you not to. I saw something like this coming, but have wished deeply that I could see you one last time before. I wish I was able to hug you once more. By the time you read this, you might already be out on the Atlantic. I wish you safe and comfortable travels and hope to see you sooner rather than later. I will be waiting for you in love. I know sometimes it might not have come across this way, but I love you, have always loved you, and will always love you with all my heart. You are all I live for these days and cannot believe I might never get to see you again. Please stay safe and give me one last hug if possible. Signed in love, Wilhelm Engelsheim.
I still remember how I dropped the letter. One by one, tears came running down my face. I tried to hide it as best I could. I remember the guilt I felt. I felt as if I was in the middle of committing the worst mistake of my life with no way to undo. What if my parents hated me by the time I returned to Europe? Looking back at it, I wish I would have opened the letter before boarding the Nomadic. Maybe, just maybe, I would have not boarded it. I stormed out of my cabin and towards the forward staircase. I paid no mind to what occurred around me. I'm still surprised I did not stumble. I was for sure not wearing the correct shoes for a sprint, especially not across the linoleum. Once I reached A deck, I immediately headed towards the exit leading onto the starboard promenade. I didn't know why I was out here now. It just felt like the right thing to do. The air was chilly, and I gazed out at the ocean as I was running. I don't even want to know what people nearby thought. I ran further until I reached a bench overlooking most of the ship's aft. The eve was beautiful, I'll give it that. Not that I noticed it, I just sat there, crying. Until I saw someone standing in the light of the promenade. He was clearly looking at me. "My God, what is it?" I just exclaimed rudely. I immediately felt guilty for my rude behaviour and was starting to rise again. I'm so sorry. I didn't see you were here before me. I'm sorry, I'll just go right away, I said as I was prepared to leave. To my surprise, he approached me and wanted me to sit back down. At least that's what I assumed when he gestured around with his left hand.
Oh, no. There is absolutely nothing you'd need to be sorry for.
So I sat back down and we talked. For a long time, it might have been an hour, maybe even 2. He managed to calm me down again. I pretty much forgot why I was upset in the first place. After a while, I noticed that the man going by the name of Henri Dupont never once took his eyes off mine. That somehow made me feel secure. I don't think anyone has ever looked at me that way again. What if I have taken a leap too far? What if that leap will drown me?
You didn't leap too far, though. Not yet anyways. If you did, you'd be drowning already.
He seemed to be quite tired already. He eventually got up and wished me a good night and sweet dreams. I don't remember saying anything back to him. I believe I just watched him depart until he was out of my sight. And now I wish I'd be taken back to the night we met. It's around 11 p.m. of April 14th, 1912. I recall the evening being a calm one. The ship was heading through the night at top speed, and the sea was flat calm. Just before going to bed, me and Henri were out on the boat deck. It was brutally freezing, but the sky above our heads was too beautiful to ignore. Henri had a way of making each and every moment magic. With him by my side, not even the frost could bite me. On our little stroll, we passed just relatively few people. None of them seemed to have taken notice of us.
I do think it's better if we headed back inside. I can see you're freezing.
I looked him into his eyes and agreed. With that, we swung around and headed back for the staircase. We glided downstairs and towards my cabin on sea deck. Henri's place of occupancy was all the way down on E deck. I didn't want us to part ways, though. I told him he could stay in my stateroom, and he agreed. There, I spent the next few minutes getting ready for bed. As I was falling asleep, I could still see Henri reading his lecture. Everything was calm, almost too calm. For a moment, I was glad to be alive. For the first time, everything seemed absolutely perfect. If only things would last a little longer. At exactly 11:39 p.m. of that very eve, the ship's lookouts up above us spotted an iceberg. Dead ahead of the ship. Moments before impact was made with the iceberg, Henry stood up for a glass of water. If he knew what was coming, I bet he would have enjoyed it a little more. I can only imagine what it must have looked like. I was still in my cabin, sleeping softly. Just mere 37 seconds after the iceberg was spotted, contact was made, yet Henry nor me took much notice of it. I have slept right through it. Puh, unsinkable, they've told us. These next few minutes, the engines would stop once and for all. This break in rhythm was what caused me to wake from my sleep. Henry was already starting to get dressed. I assume he sensed something. At this moment, I had no idea what even happened. It even took me a couple of seconds to fully comprehend that the engines were quiet for the first time. I don't think I've ever found a moment more quiet in my life. The calm before the storm is what they call it. After some time, I even noticed that the ship has taken on a slight list. It was now around midnight. Before he departed the stateroom, Monsieur Henry gave me a gentle kiss. Watching him leave couldn't have felt any harder. I waited in utter silence. I was scared. I got up from my bed and began to get dressed myself. By the time I got fully dressed, I could feel that the ship was now dead still. For how long it has been that way, I cannot tell. It has now been around 25 minutes since the collision with the iceberg. The loud noise of the boilers venting steam could be heard from above. I cannot even imagine how hard communication must have been. By the time Henry finally returned, I was fully prepared to depart my stateroom. I could hear the chatter of passengers on the corridor, signalling that many are already heading upstairs. Henry told me that according to some stewards, we have hit an iceberg, and that we, for our own safety, have stopped to avoid hitting any other icebergs. And then he said what I expected. The captain has ordered us to head upstairs. I gathered everything we needed, most importantly our life jackets. If we needed them, we wouldn't want to head back through a crowd of passengers to get them.
Titanic, great fun.
Says to make 17 knots. Full speed for them, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please! Step this way, please! That's right! Come towards me! Thank you! Good! For the time being, I shall require only women and children.
All right, boys, like the captain said, nice and cheery, so there's no panic. Wedding dance.
Never more, please, madam, and I'll pass the children across.
I'm not leaving Willie. I want to stay near him on the ship.
I think they seriously want us passengers in those boats. Whatever happens, I'll wait until they let you on as well.
No matter what, I'll see to that you're off safely. I'll leave the ship
Sorry,
no
women
sooner
and
than
children
that.
first.
If we're lucky, we don't even have to board them for long.
Hey, Sonny, what's doing? You got us all trussed up here, and now we're cooling our heels.
Sorry, Mum. Let me go and find out.
I don't think anybody knows what the hell's going on around here.
Go back and turn the heaters on in our rooms. I'd like a cup of tea when I return.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. I saw the iceberg, and I see it in your eyes. Please tell me the truth.
In an hour or so, all this will be at the bottom of the Atlantic.
Don't expect me to go in there.
By the time lifeboat number 7 was being boarded with women and children first, me and Henry made it to the starboard side of the boat deck. We pushed our way through towards the edge of the boat deck. I remember looking over the railing and seeing the lifeboat. I counted at least a dozen passengers already sitting in the boat. It's fair to say, though, that most people were not too eager to step into that boat. I also didn't see how that little wooden boat was supposed to be safer than the Titanic.
Now, madam, please.
There are so many people here, Henry.
Just keep holding my hand. We must not lose sight of each other.
Around an hour after the collision occurred, the first lifeboat was launched from the starboard side of the Titanic.
Hold the left side!
So many more could have been in it.
Right side only! Hold the left side! Right side!
There's really nothing more to say.
Where are the authorities?
Prepare to lower! Take them down!
If you've come to get me to leave, I'm not going.
If you won't go, I will.
Danny, I must beg you to get in. I'll come in after the other women and children.
I can't leave without knowing you're all right. Don't make me, please.
God's sake, hurry!
I need you to worry about yourself. I'll concern myself with my own safety once I made sure of yours. I'm not so sure if this ship is as safe as they all say.
Bloody officer! Now do as you're told!
Where do we go now? I can't see the boats. There are too many people.
Sorry,
Me and Henry were surrounded by what seemed an endless crowd of people. Neither of us could see the boat anymore. We decided to head to the other side of the ship in hopes of more luck. I could feel my heart starting to race. I don't know what I would have been doing without him.
You have to get to a boat right away.
I can't be alone again. I'd rather stay here with you, Henry.
If you don't want to get in for yourself, do it for me. I beg you. I promised your father I'd protect you at all cost, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do.
I say, when do we board?
You seen the Astors? My dear, how did you ever miss them?
Keep pulling. You on the starboard side, I'm pulling in.
This planning's atrocious.
Absolutely awful.
Order!
The Titanic isn't safe for us any longer. Please, let me on.
All of a sudden, I came to the realization that the ship was actually doomed. It is exactly 1:10 a.m. of April 15th. I couldn't help but think of the fact that I might not see the light of another day.
Come along, madam. I urge you to get in.
The boats. I must find the right one. The right boat.
I say, old bean. Absolute madhouse, don't you think?
The officer, he wanted to put me in a boat with people I didn't know. But it's not that bad, is it? We won't die. No, we won't.
People running hither and thither, no organization, no plan of attack.
I think the situation calls for panic.
Go on.
Please, Adam, get into the boat. No! We've been together for 40 years. And where you go, I go. Don't argue with me, Isidore. You know that's no good.
Both me and Henry finally made our way to the officers' promenade on the port side of the Titanic. It seemed to us that the officers were currently busy preparing the emergency cutter number 2 for loading. I was absolutely freezing, and the life jacket I was wearing did little to help. Henry must have noticed this because he proceeded to hug me as tightly as he could. All around me, I felt like there was chaos. To my right, I saw sailors and officers tossing objects towards each other. On my left, I saw frightened women. I heard whimpering from all sides. It all felt as if I was in the middle of a bad drama. People were slowly being let into the boat. It was clearly a smaller one. It looked less robust compared to the others. My hand was still tightly wrapped in Henry's. I wasn't about to let go of him. I was still determined that I'd only board if he did as well.
You haven't left?
This whole place is too much. They got Let's go this way, right?
Boats! The boats! I can't find them. Everyone's gone.
Danny, take your chance. Get in. Worry about yourself. I'll always be there when you need me. I promise.
And what if you're not here to keep your promise? It's just... I do love you so much, Henry. I cannot imagine living in a world without you.
Ladies and
make out shots from somewhere on the ship. I cannot tell you where they came from, though. Words cannot describe how frightening that is.
What's the use? Nobody's listening to us anyway.
Well, they don't listen to us at dinner either. Come on, let's play. Keep us warm. Orpheus.
Please leave me alone. I want to stay with him. Henry, stay with me.
I love you, Danny!
Almost out of nowhere, I felt a pull on my left arm. I was looking around as I was pulled through and towards the boat. My hand slipped out of Henry's. I was in absolute panic. I desperately tried to find Henry, hoping that he would pull me back again. I just couldn't see him anymore. I assume it was one of the officers that pulled me along. Whoever it was, I begged them to stop. Someone lifted me up, and quickly after I found myself on the boat, I still desperately tried to find Henry in the small crowd that was located on the promenade still. All my hopes of seeing him again were crushed when the officer ordered the boat to be lowered. The boat rocked violently as the lowering process began. I'd say it has taken around 2 minutes until we reached the water. I was surprised by how close it was already. The front of the ship was already underwater. Our lifeboat under the command of 4th Officer Boxall, once landing on the water, would proceed to be taken aft, alongside the port side of the ship. It was around 1:40 a.m.
I need some of you to take oars. We need to get ourselves organized.
I hope you stay safe, Henry.
We must stay out of the water for as long as possible. You wouldn't last more than 15 minutes down there.
Thank you. We are dressed in our best and are prepared to go down as gentlemen.
But we would like a brandy.
Looking to my best dog.
John.
Madeline asked me to inform you.
After passing the empty aft side lifeboat davits, our boat slowly approached the propellers that were already visibly out of the water.
If boats are away, there's no more. The bastards! They didn't have enough for everybody.
The boats are full. There's no more room. No more. When these boats go, that's it.
Above my head, I could hear the total chaos break out. Gosh, there must have still been at least 1,000 passengers on board. went around the aft of the ship. All of us stared at the propellers that were slowly rising out of the water. It was haunting. Our commanding officer was clearly worried about the suction the ship created. Instead of picking up more passengers, we tried to row away as fast as we could. And then the band played their last play. The screams, they were so loud. I just covered my ears and closed my eyes. Titanic has gone under at exactly 2:20 a.m., Monday, April 15th, 1912. She took 1,500 people down with her. I couldn't bear the screams. I just couldn't. But there was one thing worse than the sounds of a ship dying. The silence that followed. The 705 survivors, myself included, would eventually be rescued by the RMS Carpathia. Henry. He would never be seen again. And me, I did not deserve to survive. I should have stayed with him, on the ship.